I'm Sam, this is my wife Elizabeth, and in July 2018, our daughter was diagnosed with Wilms tumor cancer.
So it was a Monday afternoon. I was picking up my kids, and as soon as I walked in the door, my mom said, "Hey, the baby has a bump in her stomach." And I figured, well, it might be just gas, or she's one. So I did feel it, and it felt kind of weird. So at that moment, I called Sam and I said, "Hey, let's take the baby to the ER." And he was like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah." They took her, they did a couple of scans, and the doctor came back and he told us make plans to be here for a while. It's something that we see that it's not very common, but there's another child here that had the same thing. You're gonna meet a team that's gonna explain to you what's going on. We Googled it and it said it was a tumor and it was cancerous, and a lot of the treatments were chemo. So the first thing that goes to your mind is my daughter and cancer. Like, that's not something anybody expects. They scheduled her for that Thursday and they did surgery, and they were able to remove that tumor. The kidney did have to be removed, have to do 28 weeks of chemo, and so that was going to start right away. They did 6 sessions of radiation at MD Anderson.
Well, prior to everything happening, in May, our insurance was up for renewal, and we had talked about it, and I felt that God was telling me, why was I relying in man when he was my source for everything? So at that time, we decided we were going to cancel our health insurance to help us financially. So fast forward 2 months later, we get hit with this news of our daughter having this tumor. Well, I know it was an attack from the enemy, and from the moment that we found out, I never once felt defeated. I felt that God was still on our side.
We had people praying everywhere, messages coming in from people that we hadn't talked to in years, people that we didn't know, people that we had just met. It was like we were going through this struggle, but at the same time, we had support from everybody. She had a couple scans after the chemo started. There was one specific scan that she had in November. I remember coming in and the tech told me, "Has your daughter gotten any scans lately?" And she hadn't had a scan since July. So this was in November, and there's this thing called contrast. He told me, "Well, that's weird because I can see a glow inside of her." And I didn't catch it at the moment until a few weeks later. I was praying to God and thanking him because everything was going okay. And I realized that glow that man saw on your daughter, that was me. And after that scan, there was nothing left. God told me, that was me, that glow that man saw. That really was me. So it's one of those things. I really do see God in my daughter's life. Every time I see her, I realize that God is real, and it's amazing the way God works. She did lose her hair. That was sad. The day that I came home and I had to trim her ends, and I didn't want to shave her head off. She had already gone through so much, and so she kept the hat for a long time. Mm-hmm. But she looked so cute in those hats, so it was okay. We had a lot of positive people around us, but there was also some times where people would make comments and you would kind of feel like, just stay away because you only want positive thoughts.
The support from a lot of people, some that you were expecting, some that you weren't expecting, that helped in dealing with the process. As far as myself, I can't say that I ever doubted, because from the moment that that all of this happened, my faith grew stronger. I took it as, I'm not gonna let the devil beat me with this. I've seen plenty of testimonies, even from my sister having thyroid cancer, my mom surviving cancer. So I've seen God's hand in my family enough times for me to just know that He was gonna come through for us as well.
February was her last chemo, and in March we were able to schedule her her surgery, and she was able to ring the bell in April. She's back to her normal self. We started noticing her personality started getting better. She had gone through this stage where she was real shy around everybody. She would just not smile, not want nobody to touch her. She was really like indifferent to everybody, and she started getting her personality back. She started getting more social. Her hair started growing, and she's gained a couple of pounds. since the treatment's been over. So she's been doing good. Everything's been great.
It's night and day, the difference in her personality. She's very different. She's a lot more happy. Every time somebody asks me about her, I just say, man, she's different.